Hello, viewers. Welcome again to another session of Undefined. I'm happy to have my friend back here. She's been here twice now, becoming a regular. Kelechi Amadi, welcome. If you may quickly introduce yourself.
Hello, Ben. Hello, everyone. My name is Kelechi Amadi. I'm from Nigeria. I'm a lawyer and a teacher.
Wonderful. Thank you, Kelechi. So we've had you here twice. How has it been for you being on this forum?
It's been very great and very educative. I've had the opportunity of watching the videos of other guests that you have invited to this platform, and I've learned so much, so much from the platform. And I enjoy being here all the time.
Okay, yeah, thank you. Thank you for being here. And I wanted to, now one of the things that I guess, we cannot always, exhaust the topics of conversation here. So certain things came out in our previous discussions with you. One of which was this distinction between the tradition and modernity, if I would put it that way, science and tradition. And I think you were talking in relation to the Catholic faith, the fact that, things are changing now, that the Catholic Church is now becoming a bit syncretic, bringing in both tradition, acculturating local practices, as well as still maintaining, some of its rituals. So I wanted you to shed light on that and how you really see that, not necessarily from the perspective of the Catholic Church. How do you see that panning out in terms of the revitalization, the renewal, the renaissance of African knowledge system, of African tradition? Is there a place for that in our society today? Do you still feel that we're doing a good job at, bringing it back and sustaining it?
I think to a large extent, now as I speak from just within the framework of my own environment here. I live in Eastern Nigeria, which is Igbo dominated, and where a good number of Igbos are Catholics. And I think it's most prevalent that renaissance is most prevalent in the Catholic Church. To the best of my knowledge, the Pentecostal churches and other faiths under the Christian umbrella, they are still averse to the whole idea of traditional worship, because there's still this tag of idolatry, and by implication, there's a stigma of diabolism attached to anything that has to do with African traditional religion, ATR, or traditional worship. So I think the idea of and the concept of ATR is a very broad concept. So it's not just, you can't just pigeonhole it into, from ATR we are delving into the syncretism of ATR and the Catholic doctrine, because when it comes to ATR, it has so many facets, and including the not so fantastic aspects of sacrifice and all that, which is it's transforming into things that are more sinister, that get more sinister over the years. Now in this modern era, where there is a discourse of this whole Yahoo boyism, that thing, that's what they call it now, where people have this they do advanced fee fraud and all kinds of internet scam and cybercrime. Now there is a spiritual aspect to it now, where I think from what I've read about it, where they go they acquire spiritual powers, and the spiritual powers enables them to get more victims online. So that is an aspect of, for what is what, that is an aspect of the idea of cultural worship. Somehow, I do not know if that type of worship has adherents, but everything is classified under ATR because it's still the same, it's in the same atmosphere, it's in the same environment. There's a shrine, there is a native doctor, there are idols, there is blood, there is incantation. I think by and large is the same process. So, and that is one of the dangers that I keep sounding about the whole idea of resurgence of ATR. We need to know what we are bringing back. We need to know what we're bringing back and how the effect of whatever it is, the effect it will have in our society. Because by and large, the African society still has so much a belief in spiritualism, in magic. So as we are bringing that, which is also an integral part of the whole idea of ATL, there is a whole lot of you do like this, I do like this, and whatever it is, whatever spirit goes into action, does the work, everything. Now, I'm speaking now hypothetically. Whether it's real or not, I do not know. But it's all part of the worship system and the belief system in ATR. So we need to really tell our minds and bring it to our own consciousness that these are the things that would likely be part of us and be embedded in our day-to-day activities and thought process. And also we have to also caution ourselves about how to go about it.
Okay.
And
could I stop you there? And I want to go back a little bit to understand what it was then, just so that we know, like you were saying, what are we bringing back, and whether there is actually a need to bring back, whether they've actually been in existence all this while. So what was there before? And by before, I mean before colonization. And by colonization, I mean both the inroads of the Arabs as well as the Europeans, as well as the internal forms of, conquest, right, that were also happening at the time. So what was there? How was idolatry that we have come? I don't think that was the name then, right? But now we have given it this name, idolatry. And to a greater extent, idolatry comes with a negative connotation, right? Something probably of the like of the gods of Baal, right? In the Bible that, was Elijah, that God had to send fire. Was it to consume Elijah's offering, and the prophets of Baal prayed in vain? So was it the same kind of idolatry, so-called, that was obtainable in the African tradition prior to colonization? How do we understand it?
Well, again, I speak from the scope of the Igbo society. Now, according to the Igbo history, we have dibias. Dibia means native doctor, but there are different types of dibias. There is one they call dibia mpakukwa. That is the herbalist. That one, now there are people that specialize in those different aspects of dibiarism. Let me use the word, but I think also there could all those specialization could be merged into one person. There is Dibia Mpakukwa, that's the herbalist. There is Dibia Oho, that's the diviner, the person that was skilled with the whole idea of divination. You would come, the person would either foresee your future or tell anything or anything. Maybe if someone is after you or blah 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 blah, the person will tell you, okay, you have to do so and so sacrifice to avert this danger. So that was mostly just, I think, the culture, that was what the culture was embedded in. I remember at that time, our culture was embedded in that religious system. And then for society at that time, there was also the practice of, I don't know the name to call it, but each one had more interaction with his own chief. Especially as a man that has a family, you have your family kenga. That is a symbol of justice. I'm sorry, not kenga is your personal god. It's a symbol of your own personal god, which you keep in your own private chamber. You consult it, you offer libations, you offer all kinds of things, you pray to it, you ask the kenga to protect you and your household. Then there is also there. It was more of a live and let live arrangement. It was more of a live and let. It wasn't as sinister as it transformed into over time. It was more of, okay, I have done my own part. Let my chi is like the personal God. Let my chi do his own part by protecting me and providing for me. I've done my own as a mortal. Then let the immortals, let the gods and all the divines do their own part. So there was a smooth interaction between the mortals and the divine. But over time, there was a transmogrification. It became more of I need to acquire this wealth. I need to acquire this wealth. And there were people, the diviners that kept promising, okay, you need to do so and so in order for you to get rich. You need to do this to get rich. And it always involved sacrifice, specifically of the humankind. They will tell you, maybe get somebody you love so much. Now, this is based on what we watched in the movies as children. Personally, I've never had any experience with native doctors or anything. So they'll tell you, get your mom, get your wife, get your elder sister, get your child. The person will be used as a sacrificial lamb in order for you to get rich. Now, again, I keep stressing on the influence of the media, of our home videos, of our movies. The influence, somehow the media proliferated the idea of that you could just come kill someone and become rich overnight. Whether it's true or not, I do not know. But that was where personally I had that first idea and thought from. So that was how the thing it became, at the point it became a plague. It was just rampant. Children started getting killed. I don't know if you read of the Otokoto saga. It happened in Norway, where I was born and raised I think so. This happened around 1996 or so, when a granite seller, a little boy Ikechukwu, was beheaded by some persons. It was for the purpose of money rituals, and it caused a lot of uproar, it caused a lot of security concern. I remember then as a child, that period, we weren't allowed to go out. We were always being monitored. Even to go to school was a problem, to go to church was a problem. Everybody was scared because it was just rampant. Children were getting missing indiscriminately that period because everybody was just crazy for money. So if they tell you do this, you get money, it was very believable. So I think that and over time now it has incurred into the world of cybercrime. Now with the advent of cybercrime, somehow cybercrime in Africa has also adopted that aspect of money of rituals into his modus operandi. They will tell you have to bring, most time these days, it is said that young girls like teenagers, young women, they're usually the victims because it's always their boyfriends that bring them over. Either they make them to go insane or they will outrightly kill them. They'll become the victims of whatever transaction the boys or the cyber criminals are having online in order for them to bag a success. So the whole idea of rituals and everything embedded in and sacrifice embedded in ATR, it's a bit tricky because I know that rituals is a part of so many religions. Even in Christianity, in the Bible, you see people sacrificing. Sure, that was the whole genesis.
Before you get into the Bible, let me cut you short. So would you then say that the Europeans, the Arabians, and what have you, were right in destroying a lot of those practices and labeling them as, idol worshiping, as paganism, and so on? Something else. So this is one question. Another question I wanted to ask was, so this whole idea of the chi, I was thinking in terms of the Catholic faith and its idea of the guardian angel. Is it kind of similar in that sense?
It is. Let me answer the first question. On this first question, I do not, I don't, they weren't right in destroying, because this was our culture. And remember, I told you then at that time, it wasn't as sinister as it is now. So this was our culture. Everything about identity was embedded in that our belief system. So by destroying it, they destroyed so many things, including in fact they carted away so many of our of those supposed gods, which is very ironic. Many of those gods and the images and the carvings, they are displayed in many of the museums all over Europe, which is ironic. And if those gods were so powerful in Africa, why couldn't they even stop the that, because it was a pillage? Why couldn't they stop the pillage, or at least when they arrived in Europe, why couldn't they cause some mayhem there, at least to show that they are powerful? So that's an ending place I keep asking myself, and it brings so many things into light, like what's actually the efficacy? If these gods are now, sometimes I ask myself, if this whole concept of they call it Yahoo plus, that's spiritual Yahoo, if it's so effective, why couldn't those gods even challenge the white men when they came even for the whole slave trade and colonialism? Why were they silent? But that is a topic for another day. So to answer your question, I do not support that. I do not support that at
I
all,
think you could,
because
the Christian, the non-believers could also ask the same thing. Why is the God of the Europeans silent in the case of, evil in the world, right?
that question could be thrown to religion
Right,
generally.
right.
Religion.
So let's
Okay,
go to
even
the
let's
chief. Let's go to the chief
Israel.
question.
Okay.
How do we really understand what it means, given that each person has a chief? So is this a sense that there are multiple gods? There is no idea of a one supreme God in the Igbo cosmology?
Um, Under the Igbo cosmological system, and that's this cosmic belief. Everyone has a chi. That chi is like a personal god that guides you from birth and ultimately decides your fate. Now, there is a sort of an organogram. From the chi, you will see the smaller gods, the deities, they call them Arosi or Abar. Now those deities, they are now the ones that the native doctors act as their priests. Now those deities are now the ones that are answerable to the supreme god known as Chukwu. So there is this we have a sort of hierarchy of the divine under the Igbo cosmology. We have the Chukwu, that's the supreme god, the all-knowing god who created everything and knows it all, just like the Christian concept of God. Then you bring it down to the lesser gods, that's the demigods, the deities, where you see people like Anne, that's the earth goddess. You see Amadioha, that's the god of thunder. You see Ikenga, the god of war. You see Ekwensu, the god of mischief. So you see so many of those gods. They are like the intermediaries between humans. That's through their native doctors or the diviners. They are the intermediaries. Just like you could, but then okay, now after those deities, I think our ancestors are the next, because we also revere the whole idea of transcending to ancestral status upon demise, most especially the males. There is always a concept of our forefathers. I don't really hear people talk about forefathers, but I hope to research about that one day, because I think mothers deserve a place where they also produce their own beats. When they cross over to the other side, they should be responsible for certain. Anyway, that's another story for another day. But after the deities come the forefathers. So those forefathers, I think that they're the ones we relate directly to. We relate directly to them. That's after our chi. The next point of contact is our forefathers. We ask them, especially if we are talking about within your lineage, because forefathers, they usually concentrate on their own lineage. So, but the deities, they are more general. So the forefathers will always take care of their own lineage, protect his own bloodline, and make sure they are okay and everything. So that is how it keeps coming down to your own personal chi. That chi, and it is also believed that a man cannot be greater than his chi. A man cannot challenge your chi. The day you challenge your chi, that will be the beginning of your downfall. So your chi is the concept of chi in Igbo, the Igbo cosmic system is like it's just like that is your fate. But it's just that there is a personification of it. It directs your whatever you're doing in this life. If you are successful, you have a good chi. If you're unsuccessful, you have a bad chi. You understand? So that, and there is also, we have this proverb, "Onyekwe chi ekwe." When a man says yes, his chi will say yes, which also boils down to heaping the responsibility on the individual, on the mortal. The mortal somehow is also responsible for his outcome. So you cannot just fold your hands and wait for your chi to be bringing good things for you.
So in that sense, it's different from probably, and I know this is also a topic of debate, determinism and indeterminism. So there is a space for again the idea of essence and existence. There is a space for people shaping the outcomes of their own existence, right? The chi allows a space for that, right?
Yes,
depending on how you act,
yes,
you would also, it's almost like the whole idea of karma. The chi is there to support whatever you do. Okay.
Yes. But sometimes it could be unfortunate. Your chi could be sleeping, or your chi, it could be unfortunate you would have a chi that is not vibrant. And if you do everything and do everything, because we also have a proverb for that. We said, "Omere machi ekweghị, ota adịghị ya." If you do everything and try your best, but your chi no gree, you are not at fault. Nobody will blame you.
Why would the chi be derelict in executing their responsibility, given that they were sent by the ultimate, the Chukwu? Is it that they're looking out for you what might be helpful or not, or how do we understand that?
I think it all boils down to how the world is, because the world is not 1 + 1. Even karma isn't that way, and that is why the chi is also not an infallible element. You understand? So even let's say we use the concept of God, there's no guarantee that if you're a good person, after a bad things happen to good people and good things happen to bad people. So the same thing extends to our chi. We live in a very unpredictable and volatile world. So sometimes you could be doing everything you can, but the odds will continue to be against you. So who else do you blame? You have to blame your chi. That's your chi. That's why we always praise that you get a good chi. That's why people always pray, let me get a good chi. And that is why when disaster befalls a person, the person will exclaim, chi me boom, that's my chi has killed me. So it's always that constant interaction of you and your chi until you finally die.
But again, now with the advent of Christianity, and you said for the most part, where you are from in Nigeria, is mostly Catholic. So with the influence of the Catholic Church, how do you see this idea of a chi panning out? Do you feel that people have given up this notion of a chi, or they have found a way to still, match these two spiritual entities, or these two spiritual worlds, the tradition and the Christian faith? Is there a parallel, or is there some sort of, do they still have to make resort to their chi? Now, what most people will say is that people always exclaim in the Igbo called Chineke, but again, here you say that it's Chukwu, right? Chukwu is the ultimate. What is the difference also? Anyway.
Chineke means God that creates. And I think that is where there is a mix-up. Chi is a short form. Chiukwu, Chiukwu means big chi. Ukwu means big, chi. So that Chiukwu is a contraction of two words. So now, coming to the Catholics or even Christianity generally, I think many people, they hold the two. Sure, they have merged the two elements into one. That's your chi and the chukwu. They merged it, especially considering the fact that it's just semantic. It's the same chi we are talking, as is semantically, it's the same chi, it's the same God semantically. So people answer Chioma. Now that Chioma means good God. Now, that's the name has to then be interpreted in two ways. It could be that like our concept of that Christian concept of God is good. That's our God is good. We have a good God. It could also be interpreted that that person has a good chi. You understand? So people answer Chinagorom. That's God looks out for me. It could be interpreted as like the Christian concept of Chi looks out for me and helps me and fights my battle. It could also be interpreted to be that your own Chi looks out for you. So at this point in history, in our history, both religious and cultural, the two concepts of Chi has merged. They have been fused. So there is not much distinction between your personal God. And even now, another thing is somehow, I don't know whether that is the spirit behind this whole thing about most Pentecostal churches, they now personalize God. You hear people saying, the God of TB Joshua, fight for me. The God of Moaka, fight for me. Like, they not attribute that concept of personal gods to their pastors. They'll say the God of Oyakilomi, fight for me. The God of this person, fight for me. I don't know if that is the spirit behind it, but I think the whole idea of the whole chi has somehow become warped. It has somehow become integrated. But by and large, we know deep in our heart of hearts that we always hold our own chi, that personal chi, we hold it dear to our heart. And that's me. Maybe I'm just speaking from a personal experience, from my own personal, because that is what I do. I always have this feeling. And also because of my Catholic background, you mentioned the guardian angel. Catholic has, you see, that's why there are so many similarities between this whole idea of Christianity and ATR. There are so many similarities there. And that's why I don't get the point in demonizing one and then deifying one, because it's basically the same worship system, basically. Because the Catholic doctrine has the concept of guardian angel. There's a prayer we say to our guardian angel, imploring him or her or it to protect us and guide us in the day of battle and every. So it's still the same. That's your chi. You're asking your chi to protect you. So if that guardian angel is because that psychologically, that thought that you have somebody looking out for you, just like a personal bodyguard. It's just that the person is invisible.
So if the guardian angel and the chi, they're kind of the same, or rather you say that you still believe in that idea that there is a chi, and given that you also came from a Catholic background, there is a guardian angel. Are these like the same people, or are they like, two people guarding you? You know what I mean?
I don't even have it's just the feeling.
Or should we use the idea of the Trinity to explain it, right? They are all enmeshed in the same cosmological, spiritual osmosis.
And that is why somehow I can understand when somebody is a Christian and also somehow dabbles into the Islamic belief, and also dabbles into some other cultures, because basically all these things, we all seek the essence of religion. That's as human beings, is just to make this world a better place, or make our stay in this world a better place for us, or at least a more bearable place. So people go to find their own peace and their own succor and their own comfort in the midst of troubles. they go to so many places to find it. And some can find it in more than one place. So it's just about how you manage it, just like a man marries so many wives. If you manage it well, fine. If you don't manage it well, if they'll be fighting every day in your house. So that's I don't know if I'm even making sense in what I'm saying, but that's just my own idea.
I like your idea about, that religion ultimately, this is a pathway for people to make sense of their lives, but not just to make sense, to also have a good life, right? And to have a good life and ensure that other people around them also enjoy the same. And I hope that, your words will resound in places where people don't see it this way. And we know that, for so many reasons, even the religions that seem quite alike, they don't seem to see it that way, right? I'm talking here about Christianity, Islam, and Judaism. And nowhere has this been manifested than in this current case in Gaza, between Palestinians and Israel, where we see this sentimental attachment to people because of, religion, and not because of even the humanity and the lives that are being destroyed. Another thing that I feel came out strongly from what you're saying is beyond the performance of it, there is something deep about it that we cannot deny, right? This connection that we have at the deepest level that I don't even have words, to describe. And maybe that is where we need to dig deep, to discover the essence of our beings and hopefully live up to that. So I would like to draw the conversation to an end with that. And again, thank you for really being generous with your presence and fascinating ideas about the African cosmology, as well as the modern religion. So thank you very much once again, Kelechi, and we hope to see you soon. All right, bye-bye.